Speaker, today's debate has been an extremely messy one due to a confused government who wants to implement policies that actually do not tackle the root cause of the issue we are discussing here today. So firstly, identify and clearly state what exactly is the issue, because the side government does not actually still understand it. And which side actually solves the problem, which side policy would actually be doing it. And secondly, I'll be talking about the principles behind each policy and which one actually still stands at the end of today's debate. So firstly, let's look at the issue, because we see the issue here as voter apathy. Now, why does this voter apathy happen? As I mentioned earlier in my first speech, it actually happens due to two reasons, because basically people don't feel that they can change things. They can change the way the government is run, they can change the way the country is run. Either that, or basically they can't be bothered at all to have their own say in politics, or have their own say in how the government actually implements policies that affect them. Now, every speaker on that side basically agreed with us that these are the main issues. What we don't agree with is the way to solve these two reasons, the way to change the mindset of them. Because what they want to do basically is just to pay these people. Now we see on side opposition that paying these people doesn't actually change their mindset, because they still have these same misconceptions. They still think that they don't have any power or any say in the government, but because of that monetary incentive, which we believe is principally wrong and goes against the principle of democracy, as I mentioned earlier in my two speeches, basically we don't think it's feasible, firstly, and we basically think that it's morally wrong. But before I go on, yes ma'am.
Prove to me, how would education actually change the mindset when every single American during his education has already received a fair share of patriotism inculcation inside? And why does monetary value will not work as the way trend for?
Okay, basically we have a clear contradiction on side government here, because firstly they agree with our reasons as to why voter apathy exists, and secondly they say that every single one of them is patriotic. Now, every single one of them is patriotic following the line of logic. This problem of voter apathy wouldn't exist and wouldn't be actually having this debate here today. So we see that 20 to 30% of these people aren't patriotic. They don't really care about what's going on in the government, or basically they don't think that they are able to effect any change in the government. So we think that money essentially won't solve this issue. We think education, improving the education system. That's why we are having this counter policy of improving this education system, making sure that these people are aware, because we think that it would effectively solve these two problems, because now they will feel, once they're educated enough and they feel, okay, I can change something, I can do something with my one vote. And basically, I say, okay, I should be interested in the way the country is run. That's why we are having things such as more encouraging citizens to be more active in political debate, and not just increasing voting rules, which is a small tenet of my policy. Oh my, okay. Okay. So, we think that their whole idea of giving tax rebates, because where is that money essentially coming from? Basically, that money is coming from the other 70% who basically exercise their right to vote, who basically are civic-minded, are responsible. No, we don't think it's, we think that it's not only unfair to these people, but we think it will further increase the whole problem of apathy. Why? Because basically, these 70% will see, okay, the rest of the population who don't want to vote, they are getting money. They're actually receiving something, because basically they can't be bothered about the government, they can't be bothered about the way this country is run. And we think that because of the monetary incentive, the remaining 70% would just, okay, maybe I just shouldn't vote for the next election, and the election after that, the government will offer me some money to vote. So basically we see that the whole problem of apathy would actually be increased. So now let's look at the principles behind this policy. Now, we don't see any real principles on site government here, because all they asserted was that everyone's opinions are important and feedback to the government is important. Now, we don't have a problem with the on-site opposition. What we do have a problem with is using the idea of money to basically monetize and demonize the whole process of democracy. Because essentially what you're doing is deviating from the real reason to vote, because that real reason is to effect change in the government. Now the real reason to vote is basically to earn a little bit of cash on the side. And we think that that in itself is wrong, and it goes against the idea of democracy, especially in a country such as the US, which is basically the figurehead of democracy and the figurehead of the democratic ideals. So we don't think we should monetize this choice. We don't think we should involve money in this voting process, especially when the person in power, for example, Barack Obama and the people brought up, basically could use this whole giving tax rebates as a way to buy votes for his next term, for example. And we don't think that that kind of gerrymandering, which goes against this whole principles of democracy, should be allowed to exist. That's why we fight for democracy, and that's why we should win.